ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, everybody. Let us start. Thank you for joining in. Panchali Kar Mataji is still at work and will be joining us soon. But we can start with the recitation of the verses, translation and purport. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is Further Inquiries by Vidura. So we are on Chapter 3. Canto 3, Chapter 7, and the text for today will be text 7 and text 8. Indulekha Mataji, are you in a position to read the text 7 and text 8? The translation and purports are very small. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Indulekha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Kritika.
Yes, Mataji. Are you able to read the text, translation and purport of text 7 and 8?
Yeah, let me get the book, please. Okay. It's free.
Bhakta Mugo, are you able to share? Sorry.
No, I'm not able to share.
No, I'm asking Bhakta Mugo to do it.
Okay.
3.7.7.
Okay, 1 second, please.
Panchali Kar Mataji has just joined.
Apologies, Mataji. Sorry about
No problem, Mataji. We just finished the Mangalacharan and we were just going to read the text. Indulekha Mataji was going to read the text. Do you still need 2 or 3 minutes? We can read the text and translation and purport.
It's 377, right?
Yeah. Panchali Mataji, do you need some time? We can read the text.
Yes,
translation.
Mataji. So what I was thinking was Hare Krishna, everybody. So what I was thinking, Mataji, because it's Kartik, I was thinking just 10 minutes of just doing in continuation of what Prabhuji taught. Yes, he went through the Damodar Ashtakam. So just in continuation, just to make it very interactive, I just thought I'll just start with 10 minutes of something around Kartik, and then I'll go into the verses, if that is okay with all of you. If not, I can go into the verses.
That's perfect. That's perfect, Mataji.
Thank you. Lovely to see Ramni Mataji. Thank you for joining. Ramni Mataji is just back from Vrindavan, so hopefully we can get the blessings from Vrindavan. Thank you, Mataji. Can I have the sharing rights, if that's okay?
Mataji, you have the rights.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is a quiz, just a very 10 minutes quick quiz on Kartik. Prabhuji went through the Damodar Ashtakam yesterday. So just open to all very quickly. So we know this is Kartik going on. Any idea how many months there are in the Vedic calendar?
13.
Yes, Mataji, 13 with the Purushottam month, yes. But usually, so that comes every 3 years, but usually it's 12 months, but every 3 years it becomes 13 months with the Purushottam month. And why is it called Kartik month?
It is called Kartik month because this month is very dear to Radharani, and this is Radharani's month, and one of the names is Kartik, Kartike.
So whose name is Kartik?
Radharani's, Kartike.
Yes, and where does it come? So what does it mean, and where does it come
She
from?
is the daughter of Kirtida.
Yes, Mataji, yeah. So Kirtida, who's also sometimes called Kirtika. Kirti means fame. So someone who gives fame to others. So the daughter of Kirtika is Kartika, that's Radharani. What are the 2 other names of Kartik month?
I think we should let other people answer now.
Anybody else who would want to answer?
Damodar month, Mataji.
Yes. Any other name that you can think of Kartik month?
Urjeshwari.
Yes,
Urjeshwar.
Mataji. Yes,
Urjeshwar.
Urja month. Urja means
Sorry, I was
time.
not in the class yesterday. Sorry.
Oh no, Mataji. I think Madan Prabhu, he took us through the Damodar Ashtakam beautifully. I mean, I joined very late as well, but whatever little it was absolutely nectarian. And I think we covered this. Why is this month a favorite of Krishna? Because it is Radharani's month. Now, again, this number 5, open to everybody. What are the 3 main Krishna conscious values associated with this month? What do we learn? We've been hearing about Kartik for quite a few days now. What are the 3 main takeaways from Kartik month? The 3 Krishna conscious values. Would anyone want to try?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Think of this bhakti, devotion towards Krishna is really emphasized.
Yes.
Austerity.
Yes, of course, Prabhuji. Yes, of course. Thank you so much. From the Damodar Leela, just when Mother Yashoda was trying to tie Krishna, what immediately comes to our mind in terms of values that we can take away? That Krishna, Mother Yashoda trying to tie Krishna, not being able to tie, and then finally being able to tie. What are the 2 immediate values that come to our mind?
Hare Krishna
Love and
Mataji.
endeavor.
Yes, pardon?
Love and endeavor.
Yes, love and endeavor, exactly. So endeavor, we have to have that endeavor. We need to try, but unless and until there is the mercy of Krishna, nothing fructifies. So we need both. We need the endeavor. And when Krishna sees our endeavor, as he saw in Mother Yashoda, then with his mercy, we are able to tie Krishna down. That is when we get Krishna Prema. As we were talking about it last week, that, in that in that book where it was being asked as to why it's impossible to tie Krishna, and Krishna told Radharani that it would have been impossible for anybody else to untie that rope of love of Mother Yashoda, unless and until she herself unties it. So endeavor and love, that is what makes a perfect combination, and that gives the mercy of Krishna. But what else can we actually take away from the Damodar Leela? Again, keeping in mind that, it also includes the liberation of Nala Kuvera and Manigriva. Is there any other takeaway that we can think of? Would anyone want to? Romney Mataji, are you on mute? Yes. Would you like to say?
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
I don't know the answer to this one. Sorry.
Oh, no
Panchali.
worries at all. No worries, Mataji. Would anyone else want to try?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can I
Yes.
try Mataji?
Yes, of course, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So when in this month, whatever we do, whatever seva, whatever chanting and all the service we do to Krishna, we will be liberated from this material bondage. Is that right, ma'am?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. And it also that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely right. It is we will be liberated, and we are walking towards liberation. We've started the journey already. But it also reminds us just how important it is for great association, of good association. Throughout our Shastras, this point has been driven home to us over and over again, that keep to good association, because association can make you or break you. Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, they were full, they were covered with opulence, being the sons of Kuvera, the treasurer of the heavenly planets. But in that opulence, in that happiness, they forgot Krishna. They forgot Krishna's devotees, and they insulted Narad Muni, and yet the same association of Narad Muni, because he was a great devotee, allowed them to have darshan of Krishna. So even a curse from a devotee is actually a boon. So we have to remind, sometimes, we think, we get disturbed, or we don't want to go to the temple. We just want to, say, oh, I'll just sit at home and I'll do my prayers. But it also, and I keep telling myself, no, it's so very important to have this constant association of devotees. Otherwise, Maya is just too strong to pull us down. The entire day we have work to do. We meet other people who may or may not be devotees. So I think one of the greatest takeaways from me from this Leela was that mercy and endeavor, and also association of devotees. Now I'm going to jump to question number 8, because the others we might have covered. The Damodarashtakam, it describes how Krishna's features are, and we talked about the two sons of Kuvera. Now, why was Krishna feeding the monkeys in the Damodar Leela? Why not any other animals?
Was it because in the Ram Yoga and Ram time that the
Yeah.
monkeys helped to build the bridge.
Yes.
So in this era of, you know, he said that he will look after the monkeys or he will feed them.
Yes,
Something
Mataji.
like that, but
Yes,
I'm
no,
not explaining it very well.
No, you did it perfectly. So in the Treta Yuga, in Ram
Treta.
Yuga, that was where the monkeys helped him. So in Dwapar Yuga, when Krishna came as himself, he helped the monkeys. And who are the Chiranjeevis? There's a connection between question 8 and question 9.
Hanuman.
Hanuman is a Chiranjeevi, yes. So can we think of so who are the Chiranjeevis? What
They
does
are
Chiranjeevi mean?
They are the immortals, that they never die.
Yes, Mataji. Immortal in what sense? Immortal as in eternal, immortal, eternity?
They never die. They live forever.
Yes. Well, the souls never die. No soul die. Okay, so Krishna says in the Gita, the soul's eternal. So would you say immortal is the same as eternal?
In a sense, yes.
Okay, so
I think here we are talking about the body and the soul on two different levels.
yes,
right?
you're right, Mataji. Yes, so
Yeah.
so the body is immortal, and immortal for what length of time? Immortal for, so Ram said to Hanuman that, you know, as long as, so when at the end of Ramayana, when Ram finished his mortal leelas, you know, in the past times, and he was ready, Lord Brahma came and said, you know, Lord Ram, you have to go now, you know, that your time's over, you've done your duties, what needed to be done, taken care of, Ravan, all that is done. You have to return now. And then he took back all the associates, everybody in Ayodhya, but not Hanuman, because Ram said, Hanuman, as long as the sun shines, as long as the sun will rise, you will be here. You will be here, people will talk about you, and people will know who you are. So we are probably talking about, you know, so complete not the partial annihilation, but, you know, perhaps the complete annihilation, and then Hanuman goes back to Godhead. But that's what I can make out. But if there is any correction, please do correct me. So and then they go back to Godhead.
Mataji,
You know, from yes,
one
Mataji,
thing,
do correct me, please.
it's not, no, I'm not correcting you, just telling, it's not Lord Brahma who went to Lord Ram to tell him that's time to leave. It's a Kala, it's time himself, time personified.
Mataji, thank you so
Yeah.
much for correcting me. So any other Chiranjeevi we can think of who we have learned in you know, we are in Canto 3 now. We've come across another Chiranjeevi in the previous canto.
Actually, there are 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yes.
that is Bali Maharaj,
Yes.
Aswathama,
Yes.
and Hanuman, as we said, Vibhishan,
Yeah.
and Parashuram, Markanda Muni.
Yes.
Markandeya Muni.
Yes.
I think that's it now.
That's, yeah, there's somebody.
Yeah, I think one more,
yeah,
Kripacharya.
Kripacharya, yes, Mataji, yeah. But yeah, and I was referring to Ashwatthama, who we've come across in Canto 1. Okay, and I think the last one we all know who wrote Damodarashtakam.
Satyavrata Muni.
Satyavrata Muni, and it comes in which Purana?
Padma Purana.
Padma Purana. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So I just thought we'll just quickly start with that because it's Kartik month. It's only right that we do a little bit of Kartik related thing. So now we come to our Srimad Bhagavatam class, and we are reading Canto, we are reading from Canto 3, and we'll be reading verses 7 and 8 today. So Mataji, did you say it was read, or do you want me to read it? Has it been read already?
No, we haven't read it.
Okay.
We were just in the process.
Oh, okay, Mataji, no worries. So I'm just going to quickly go.
But the Mugo, you can project it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So before I start again, I pay my obeisances to all of you, and my obeisances to my Guruji. Without his mercies, I wouldn't have been able to do the service. And I seek the mercies of Radharani and Krishna to guide me to say the right things. And I seek blessings from all of you. If I'm wrong anywhere, please do correct me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Etasmin me mano vidvan kityate jnana sankate tanna paranudavipo kashmalam manasam mahat. Translation. O great and learned one, my mind is greatly illusioned by the distress of these nations, and I therefore request you to clear it up. Purport. Such mental bewilderment as represented here by Vidura takes place for some living entities, but not for everyone. For if everyone were bewildered, there would be no possibility of a solution by higher personalities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes. Verse 8, please. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Saitam kodita shatra tattva jignashana munihi pratyaha bhagavad chitta smayan eva kata smayaha. Translation. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, O king, Maitra, thus being agitated by the inquisitive Vidura, at first seemed astonished, and then he replied to him without hesitation, since he was fully God consciousness. Purport. Since the great sage Maitra was filled with God consciousness, he had no reason to be astonished at such contradictory questions by Vidura. Therefore, although as a devotee, he externally expressed surprise, as if he did not know how to reply to those questions, he immediately became perfectly settled and properly replied to Vidura. Yasmin vignate sarvam evam vignatam bhavati. Mundaka Upanishad 1.3. Anyone who is a devotee of the Lord knows about the Lord to some extent, and devotional service to the Lord makes him able to know everything by the grace of the Lord. Although a devotee may apparently express himself to be ignorant, he is fully full of knowledge in every intricate matter. Thank you. So these two verses, we might want to just remember some of the words like chitta, smayan, and we'll come back to those words later on. But what we are primarily discussing today over here is that this is Canto 3, and it's one of the longest conversations of Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. And Vidura is asking questions to Maitreya Rishi. Now, we see in Srimad Bhagavatam and in various of our Shastras, this question and answer technique is used a lot to inform mankind of the do's and the don'ts of the Vedic injunctions. we've seen that so many times, and we've also discussed it a few times right from the start. You know, the whole Bhagavatam starts with questions and answers. Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions to Sukdev Goswami, the rishis of Naimisharanya to the Sutta Goswami. And there are so many other conversations which we have done previously in the previous cantos between Narad Muni, Lord Brahma, between Bhishma Dev, Yudhishthira. So we've gone through quite a few, and we will come across quite a few. But we are in one of the question and answer discussions, which is one of the longest. The entire, you know, and it is in this canto we will also come across where Maitreya Rishi, whilst talking to Vidura, he'll also cover what Kapil Muni, who's an incarnation of the Lord, will be speaking to, or will be talking to his mother Devahati. And we are told right at the beginning, you know, when we even studied Bhagavad Gita, we would say, Krishna says to Arjuna in one of the very famous verses in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, Tat viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshata te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. Or just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and then render service unto him. Because it is the self-realized souls who can really impart knowledge. Why can they do so? Because they themselves have seen the truth. Because the path of spiritual realization is extremely difficult. And so the Lord advises us right at the beginning that, you know, approach somebody who can tell you the right things because they have seen the right. Just independent study of books of knowledge cannot lead one to complete spiritual progress or realization. One has to approach a spiritual bona fide master. And such a master should be accepted in full surrender. And whilst we are talking about this, keep in mind that, you know, so far, what have we heard? Well, how has Vidura approached Maitreya? How did Vidura approach Uddhava earlier? And how has Vidura approached Maitreya? And in the last few verses, Vidura has been asking some questions to Maitreya, that why is it that, you know, the humans beings, you know, they are the souls, are Satchidananda. The souls are pure. Why is it that the souls come under such conditioning? Why do the souls suffer? Why are the souls led astray? So Maitreya Muni has, Vidura has been asking these questions, and we have seen how, you know, the purpose, in the purport, Prabhupada has explained how the souls come under the control of avidya or ignorance. How we are, you know, there are various energies of the Lord, and our energy, you know, the Jiva Tattvas, how they are overtaken by Maya unless and until they surrender to the Lord. So we have come through all of that, and yet Vidura is still asking questions to Maitreya Rishi. And so we have to go back to right to the beginning, that why is Vidura doing that again? And Maitreya Muni, we are told over here that Maitreya Muni, when he heard this question from Vidura, for a second he was taken aback. And we'll come to that in a minute, a bit later. He was taken aback, and then peace came over him as well. He was then, from the next verse, we'll see how he's ready to actually give the answers. And so we go back to right at the beginning. Why is it that we are constantly being reminded how to ask questions and who to ask questions from? And it reminds us of that very, you know, quite a famous pastime of Narottam Das Thakur, one of the greatest devotees of the Lord, who was the son of a king. He was the son of a king, and he left home. He wanted to get initiated, went to Jiva Goswami, and Jiva Goswami at the time wasn't ready to give initiation. He had no time. He was so learned. He was writing books, and he said, why don't you actually go to Loknath Goswami and get initiation from him? And Loknath Goswami had taken, the decision that he was not going to have any disciple. And so he said a no to Narottam Das Thakur. And we see how Narottam Das Thakur, despite the fact that, he was born in riches, he left all those riches. And so what did he do? He took to serving Loknath Das Goswami. When, in the earlier days where, we didn't have fancy bathrooms and toilets, people used to go out to the nature when they had a call of nature. And Narottam Das Thakur, every single morning, he would go and clean the place where Loknath Goswami would go to relieve himself in the morning. And so this happened 1 day, 2 days, quite a few days. And Loknath Das Goswami was thinking, who is this person who's cleaning the place and keeping water for me, keeping things ready for me? And so he hid one day. And he saw Narottam Das Thakur coming and cleaning the place before he could go. And then he was absolutely delighted to see, and he embraced Narottam Das Thakur and said, no, you are ready to be initiated. You are ready. You are the perfect disciple. And so we see Narottam Das Thakur then took initiations, and he had quite a few doubts in his mind, which he could then ask from him. So he surrendered, and this is what we are being said all over through various examples of so many devotees, how to surrender and ask question. And so we see over here again Vidura asking these questions to Maitri very, very submissively, not with the pride of some, look, I am already an enlightened soul, but with the genuine want of wanting to know. And we come over here again, what Shastras also teach us about the minute difference between what a prashna is and what a jignasa is. We have heard many times in the Shastras, there's the mention of the word jignasa, but you will hardly come across anywhere, either in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Bhagavatam or anywhere else in the Shastras, you would hardly see the word prashna, although, apparently they mean the same, inquiring, asking questions. But we are told by acharyas that prashna might have a hidden or a subconscious sense of ego in them. Wanting to know, it's actually asking. And then, do you know the answer? So I'm asking you this question. So do you know the answer to that? Whereas jignasa is more in humiliation. This is where jignasa translated, it translates into the want to know, or janibar icha, to the want to know. So yes, there is that question, that inquiries of do you know the answer? But do you know the answer because I want to know? This I want to know may not be applicable to a prashna, just a mere prashna. But we see the Shastras saying so many times, these devotees, they have this jignasa because they want to know. They themselves might be enlightened, but they want to know. And we see so many examples where we see King Rahugana being instructed by Jarabharat, and he wanted to know. We see the classmate also, even if they didn't want to know, we see Prahlad Maharaj, he was instructing his classmates, even if they didn't want to know. But all these instructions, these answers being given for the greater good. On the other hand, we also see a very, very different kind of questions and answers. We see sometimes how it is also just to drive home to us how intricate and how sweet Krishna consciousness is, and how different the rasas of Vrindavan and Vraj is to the rest of the entire Krishna consciousness. Even through prashna and answer, even through jignasa and answers, we are given that difference between the Vrajaras and the rasa of everywhere else outside Vrajaras. We see Uddhava going to Vrindavan because he was sent by Krishna over there because he was full of gyan, but he missed that he missed the rasa, the prema. And so Uddhava went there and he started explaining to Mother Yashoda, because they were asking, how is Krishna? Where is he? Did he not come with you? We are missing him. So they were asking him questions. And Uddhava was trying to give them answers with, oh, do you know what? You shouldn't be missing Krishna so much, because he's not just your son, but he's the Lord of the universe. He's the Supreme Lord. He went to the gopis and he said, the gopis said, oh, you shouldn't be, thinking so much of Krishna. He has lots of duties as a king now. He's Dwarkadish, Now, this was in reply. He was trying to give them answers about Krishna, and this was in replies to a lot of questions from the people of Vraja. Now, to them, Krishna is their Krishna. They don't care that Krishna is Dwarkadish. Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda completely told off Uddhava, saying, are you a fool? You're telling us that, we have not only just, let go of our son, but we've actually let go of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are trying to tell me, you're trying to, make me calm by this, but we are even more agitated that we've actually allowed the Supreme Personality of Godhead to leave us and go away to some other place. And then, so that didn't, it didn't matter at all. And the gopis were even more angry with Uddhava. They just said, just go away. You're a fool. What you're telling us is not, do you think the distance between Vraja and Mathura is a long distance? If we wanted to, we could have gone there any time. We can't even blink without thinking about Krishna. We can't breathe without thinking about Krishna. If we wanted to, we would have gone there. But our missing Krishna is lesser than what Krishna needs to do. As long as Krishna is happy, that is all we want to know. So we are asking you questions to understand whether Krishna is happy or not. How is he? Not for you to give us worldly knowledge. And that is what we have to understand. The ultimate goal of each question and answer is Krishna happy? What I am doing now, is Krishna happy with me? What should I do now? And this ties in with the conclusion that we will have at the end of our session today. Why is Vidura asking these questions to Maitri Muni? And we understand that for all of these things, Vidura himself was an enlightened person. But we see that there are reasons as to why these questions were being asked. So we try to think of that in three different sections. We see what the context is. We try to understand what the implication is. And then finally, what is the takeaway from it? So the context is that, Vidura had already asked certain questions that we have seen. He's already asked some questions to Maitri Rishi. And the context is that Krishna has just departed from this material world. And it's Mahabharata, it's the aftermath of the Kurukshetra battle, and then there's this huge emptiness because Krishna's also departed. Now Vidura knows this has happened, but he would also like to know it from others as well, because for a minute he just didn't want to believe it. It's like, when we hear something devastating, initially we just don't want to believe it. And so we see Vidura going to Uddhava and asking him, what has happened? Tell me more about Krishna. And we see the whole section of how Vidura and Uddhava talks about the various pastimes of Krishna, and how both these great devotees relished and went into ecstasy, just reminiscing the pastimes of Krishna again. And then Vidura wants to know even more. And this is Vidura, an enlightened soul. Krishna himself, when goes to his house, he left the house. How many times have we heard about that pastime when Krishna left the huge feast prepared for him by Duryodhana, and he goes to Vidura's house, where Vidura's wife, she was so full of ecstasy, devotional ecstasy, that she was actually serving Krishna the banana peels instead of the banana, and throwing away the banana, and Krishna was happily having them. Neither Krishna nor Vidura's wife had the slightest inclination of what they were doing. To them, Krishna was gazing into the eyes of a pure devotee, and the devotee, Vidura's wife, was gazing into the eyes of the Supreme Lord. And that's what Krishna Prema is. You forget the whys and the whats and the whos, and all that matters is that love. The love between Krishna and us, that is all that matters. And so this Vidura, he comes in, and how many times has he seen Krishna? And yet he's still so hungry to know about Krishna even more. And so he asked Maitreya again. And over here, we understand that there is this, it's like a piece of news. We get a piece of news. And when we read a newspaper, we see that the news item that is written, and then the editor also writes an editorial, doesn't he? And in the news item, we see the news as it is, the facts. But when the editor writes the editorial, there is a perspective that the editor puts. And that perspective has its own taste. And so we see so many people flocking to read the editorial. The editorial, is quite popular in the newspapers, because there is that added perspective to it. And that is what Vidura is looking for. It's the questions that he knows the answers to, and yet he wants to get that perspective. And so he's asking Maitreya these questions again. And so we see in the verse again, there's there are the words, Tattva Jignasuna, one who was anxious to inquire. Bhagavad Chitta, one who's anxious, he was God conscious. Now, in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about karma and how, because the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is a summary of what has been told before, and obviously leading to the ultimate word of Krishna, that Sarva Dharman Parityajan Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, surrender all kinds of dharma, religion, and just surrender unto me, Krishna. But he starts with talking about karma, and he says, he gives a summary of what he had said, that, do your karma, but without mafaleshi kadachana, don't expect, don't look forward to the results, leave the results unto me. And he talks about how when action is done, there is, people are they are stimulated to do some action. So if you're wanting to do some action, the soul is never static. The soul is always active, as Krishna says in the Gita. And so it is so very impossible for the impersonalists who think that they can be one with Krishna and be like that forever. It is very, very difficult for them to do that, because the soul is active in nature. And the constitutional position of the soul is to be Jive Swarupa Krishna Nityadas, to be the eternal servant of Krishna. And unless and until the soul can serve Krishna, they will fall from that that platform again to the material platform. And so there, for doing any kind of karma, there is that stimulation of wanting to do that karma. And so when we are doing, and many a times, wanting to do a karma can also agitate people, that I have to do this, I have to do that. And so we see that when Vidura asks the questions to Maitreya, we see some reactions in Maitreya. So first of all, there is that agitation as to, oh, he's asking me questions. And then there is that stimulation, because he's eager to now say, wanting to say things to Vidura, wanting to share things with Vidura. So there is that activation, a slight agitation, that why, agitation with a bit of query. Why is Vidura, who himself is such a knowledgeable person, why is he asking me these questions when he knows the answers himself? And then there is that stimulation, because he's about to do some action. He's about to talk to Vidura about wanting to give him the answers again. And then there is that peace that covers him, because he is a knowledgeable person himself, and he knows exactly why Vidura had asked him the question. So we see this, and this is what we are being drawn attention to. This is what happens when two great souls meet. Yes, there can be that initial query, but then there is that peace in them, because one enlightened person completely understands as to why the other person is asking him something which he already knows. And that is what we see in this verse. We are being, this is being highlighted in this verse again. And so we come to the next point. What is the implication? Why did Maitreya Rishi, fall back into peace again? What did he understand as to why Vidura was asking him? So let's look into the focus over here. I've got 10 minutes here. I'll rush through it. So let's look into the focus. Now, again, going back to the Bhagavad Gita, because, we cannot define Shastras without going back to what Krishna himself has said. Then we go back to, chapter 10. And we see two verses, 10.8 and 10.9. These two verses come one after the other. However, there are two different perspectives that Krishna gives in these two verses. And I'll only read the translation. In 10.8, Krishna starts saying that Aham Sarvasya Prabhaha, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds, and everything emanates from me. And the wise who perfectly know this, they engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So Krishna says that I am the enlightener. Everything, I'm the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. 10.8. 10.9, Krishna says, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, and their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And that is what Krishna says immediately then next in the following verse. First verse, he says, I'll enlighten. Nobody can, I am the person who enlightens. And then the next verse, he says that my great devotees, they get enlightenment from each other by conversing about me. So actually, this is this underlying dynamism, because enlightenment is two things simultaneously. Enlightenment is a destination. You know, someone is self-realized, enlightened soul, but enlightenment is also a journey. So it's both a destination and it's also a journey. So enlightenment is a destination in the sense that after exploring many, many objects about everything, knowing about everything, we understand that Krishna is the ultimate. He's the supreme being. Everything comes from him. We are part and parcel of Krishna. And then, you know, we are only travelers in this material world, and our real abode is the spiritual world. That is enlightenment. But it's also a journey. Why? Because that is enlightenment. What is that enlightenment? How do we define that enlightenment? That enlightenment is nothing but Krishna Prema. We've talked about when we were doing the, you know, in the previous cantos, we had discussed about Sambandha Abhidaya Prayojana. What is the ultimate? Why are we doing what we've realized our Sambandha with Krishna, our relationship with Krishna? We are doing our sadhana to be able to re-establish that relationship with Krishna that has been broken because we are in this material world. But why are we trying to re-establish that that relationship with Krishna? Because our ultimate goal is Krishna Prema. So when we say enlightenment, when we say somebody is self-realized, what we mean is that that person has got that prema, has tasted that prema, that love. And that love is not a static word. Love is an expression. It is not a notion. So when we talk about love, you know, although even in the material term, even in the material world where everything is perverted, as we see Krishna say in the 15th chapter, it's like an inverted banyan tree. Even if its love is perverted over here, even then, love is not just an expression. It's not just a notion. It's not just a fancy term. It's dynamic. It is not a passive concept. It's an expression, it's alive, and it's a continuous feeling. And because it's a continuous feeling, that means there is activity. It's not static. And so when we talk about enlightenment being a journey, this is exactly what we mean. We are talking about that love for Krishna. It's not static, because Krishna is not static. Krishna is dynamic. It's impossible to describe Krishna. It's impossible to limit Krishna. You know, Ananta Shesha, we know he's talking about Krishna since eternity and hasn't stopped. Glorifying Krishna is impossible. So this journey of love, this journey of enlightenment, yes, we understand Krishna is everything, but there is that urge, that real urge to want to love him more and more and more and more. And that comes from wanting to know about him more and more. And we see it like right now, the Damodara Ashtakam. How many times have we listened to that pastimes? And yet every single time we listen to him, we relish it even more. We love Krishna, eat that bit more. We understand him that bit more. So the best way to get this constant love is through another devotee. That's the best way to understand, to get this journey, the journey of enlightenment again. It's like, you know, it's like a vast ocean with different beaches. So somebody's somebody's in one beach, a quieter beach. Somebody's in a beach where, you know, the waves are tumultuous and, you know, rough. So every different person gets a different perspective. There can be all people, all of them may be enlightened, but they may have enlightenment. Their journey of enlightenment may be different. So there is that thirst for one enlightened person to know about the perspective of another enlightened person, just so that there is that extra bit of relishing Krishna Prema. So they are always hungry to know more and more. There is never that satisfaction that because I have reached enlightenment, because I am self-realized, I know who Krishna is, so now I should just be happy. So I was listening to Rasamrita Swami Maharaj once saying that, you know, if we do the chanting, so we chant more and more and more. So we might think that somebody was asking him, so Maharaj, if we chant a lot and a lot and a lot, and we go back to the spiritual world, can we stop chanting because we get Krishna already? And Maharaj says, no, that's when you chant even more. Not because somebody tells you to, but because you would want to do more chanting yourself, because that gives you pleasure. And so, and that is what Vidura was doing. So, you know, he just wanted to know something else from Krishna, because there is that, it's a journey. And so we see he himself is a great soul. But he's asking questions so that he can get Maitreya Rishi to give him more knowledge and also talk to him a bit more about Krishna. So now, because we've got only 2 minutes, I'll quickly rush to, I mean, there's so much more to say about this, but I'll rush to the conclusion and the takeaway, the last bit. The take before, because with Maitreya Rishi starts giving answers to Vidura from the following verses. So what is the takeaway from this? What's the conclusion? So Vidura is seeking a kind of reiteration of what he already knows. He's, you know, because he knows that Krishna has left this world. And there is that sense of helplessness all around. So he just wants to know what to do now, and he wants to get another perspective. He wants to know, you know, in the Krishna book there is the pastime of Akrura, when he is taking Krishna and Balaram from Vrindavan to Mathura. Krishna and Balaram, they take a bath on their way. They take a bath in Yamuna, and then they are sitting on the chariot. Akrura goes, he takes a dip in the Yamuna, and he actually sees Narayan and Anantashesha. He sees Mahavishnu and Anantashesha. And he just gets, you know, surprised. Oh, I just thought, you know, but is that Krishna? But I just saw Krishna and Balaram up there. So he comes out again and he sees the two brothers sitting on the chariot. He goes down again. So he's perplexed. However, he comes to the realization that I have understood now. Yes, I have understood, because now I know what the truth is. Knowing firsthand, or rather knowing from someone firsthand, in Vidura's case, that adds a different relish. So Akrura was praying that, yes, I have now come to see who Krishna really is, not the little boys of Vrindavan, but he's the Supreme Lord. I know that now because I've seen it now. Krishna has given me that vision. And so now matter cannot touch me. I will not be bound by Maya. And Vidura, hearing that devastating news, you know, he wanted to know from people who have heard Krishna give the knowledge, because Krishna gave the knowledge of Gita to Uddhava. So the Gita again to Uddhava, and Maitreya Rishi was there. So Vidura wanted to know that true knowledge of the Absolute from someone who has heard it firsthand. Because there's a different, you know, even though one is enlightened, there is a different relish in wanting to know it, what it is, what is the absolute truth that Krishna himself has said. And that is what Vidura wanted to know. And that is why he asked these questions again. And how does he ask? He asks it in humility. And that is the conclusion that we take away today. Everything Prabhupada says over and over again in his purport, unless and until we have this humility in asking, we will not be able to reach the truth. We talked a lot about false ego the other day, last week, when I was sharing with all of you about, how the false ego covers everything. And how we are told, the best understanding of Krishna is not to be able to understand Krishna at all, because Krishna is unlimited. The more you try to understand him, the more aspects of Krishna is there. So the best way to do is to ask somebody else who's also an enlightened soul. Ask how? Ask, do a jignasa, ask in humility. If somebody does not have humility, his path of knowledge has not begun. It hasn't even started. Because what humility means is that I am subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I am also subordinate to his devotees. That is what humility is. Humility is not, I know a lot, but no, I know there is God who's the supreme, but I'm not only subordinate to him, but I'm also subordinate to all his devotees. And it is with this devotion and with anticipation that Vidura is asking all these questions to Maitreya Rishi. And Maitreya Rishi, he understands, he gets a bit agitated, but then he's covered with peace because he understands exactly himself being an enlightened soul. He understands completely as to why Vidura is asking the questions. So we wait for Vidura, we wait for Maitreya Rishi to give us the answers from the next sessions. So thank you very much for the opportunity to give me the service opportunity. If I've made any mistakes, please do correct me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for today's session. It was really action-packed, a lot of good points coming out. Mataji, just remind me, which is this shloka in Bhagavad Gita that you ask, get a spiritual master, ask him submissively.
Yes, Mataji. So, yeah. So that is Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tadviti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya.
4.34. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
And then I liked your point about enlightenment. It's a journey and the destination. So destination, I understand, but the journey, I was thinking it as, and the journey you acquire Krishna Prem, and you get more and more and more. And I was thinking for a journey, you always need some currency. So maybe this is the love to reach to the destination. You need some currency. So this love is the currency that you have to increase and increase to get to that destination. So
and because love is unlimited, Ahaitukya Pratihata, continuous, unmotivated, and also unlimited. So it's never going to end. There's always going to be more to learn and more to love. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji, for today's session. Are there any questions or comments? But before we go to questions and comments, let us welcome Romni Mataji and Vidisha Mataji, who have joined this group for the first time.
Yes.
Let us chant 3 Haribols to welcome them to this group. This group meets every day at the same time, same link. We don't even stop on Sundays, so it's every day. So kindly join in if you have the bandwidth and the time. Let us chant 3 Haribols to welcome them. Hare Krishna, Haribol. We move on to a quick question and answer. Are there any questions? I know we have exhausted our time. We have gone 5 minutes above, but we can take one question if there is. Okay, there are no questions. Let's ask Eastern Prabhu. Prabhu, can you please end this session, this fantastic session of today?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for taking us through the discourse for today. Also, thank you for teaching us about the Kartik month for people like me who were not like in well knowledge about it. And also thank you for enlightening us that the glorification of the Lord is limitless and is endless. We cannot finish glorifying Him in this life or the next, and also after getting liberated, we can still continue glorifying Him, and it's also so limitless. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today's class. And I will invite each and every one of us to chant one round of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the glorification of Her Grace Panchali Kar Mataji for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srila Prabhupada,
Grantaraj Srimad
Ki Jai. Grantaraj
Jai
Bhagavatam Ki
Jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna.
It's so nice to see Ramni Mataji and Vidisha Mataji
Oh.
because we do morning chanting and, like Kritik Mataji, Ramni Mataji and Vidisha Mataji, all of you have given me a chance to do service. So thank you to all of you.
You're so elevated, Panchali. It's unbelievable.
Mataji, thank you for the
Very.
service.
Panchali Kar Mataji Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Panchali Mataji ki jai.
Krishna. Thank
Thank
you
you
also,
so much.
Jai.
Chadni Mataji, Dennis Prabhu, Eastern Prabhu, and Doreen Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Have
Krishna.
a very nice Kartik, rest of Kartik, until
Yeah.
next time. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, you too.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare